Sexuality is what David said. It is the way you express yourself as a human being. Are we following? It is how you express as a human being. The way you put on is you expressing yourself. The way I put on is the way I'm expressing myself. Sometimes you look at someone and the way they dress, the way you smell, you're like, this one gave up on life. Haven't you seen such people? But sometimes you see someone, you're like, this onoyema yagala, they love themselves because of how they speak, how they walk, how they smell. That is what sexuality is. The way you express yourself as a human being. The way you speak. You've met people who speak with an accent. Like, hi ladies and gentlemen, how you feeling? How you doing? They're doing an accent. That's who they are. They want to show off. And it's very okay to show off. It's very okay for Sam to wear his hat in the back and Moses to wear it in the front. They went to the same market and David bought a beanie, a hoodie, and Moses bought a hat. Because that's what they like. You find that if I give Moses beanie or David, tajagala, that's not who he is. We go, Gloria went and plaited her hair, and then Hawa plaited dreads. That's what she wants. Sexuality is just merely how you express yourself as a human being. When you meet Haguma there in the walking down, you see her shoes, you see the way she's putting on, you say, she must have a job. She must love herself, isn't it? Just because of how she's dressed. Sometimes you'll enter a room and you say, this is the CEO, this is the cleaner, this is because of how they speak, how they are dressed, how confident they are. So the rest of these things, prostitution, money, paying sex for money, rape, these are part of sexual reproductive health, but they are not sexuality. Are we together? I'm going to ask that we do 3 things while we're here. For these 2 days, I'm running out of my time. I ask that while we're here together, we learn, we unlearn, and we relearn. So if we say something and it's completely new, open your mind to learn it.
So Light for the World is an international organization that is not an organization of persons with disabilities, but one that brings together private sector, government, and civil society organizations to build capacity on the topic and subject of disability inclusion. It has come to our realization that disability or people with disabilities are not far away from us. They are within our communities. We meet them in churches, and at times even take a step to pray for them. Not so? That they get healed. Receive, isn't it? So what happens when they don't receive, we shall discuss later. And so is to what happens when they receive. So we come to speak about disability inclusion because many people say they want and are interested to include persons with disabilities, but only challenged by the how. For us to better do this, we came up with an initiative called Make 12.4% Work. Because focus was on employment. That's why the word work comes in. And I hope that every other speaker will tell you that music is work. True or false? Yes? So music is work, and that's why we here talk about disability inclusion in music. Why should persons with disabilities be included in music or in work in the world of employment? The reasons are so key. So the 12.4% are figures that the National Household Population Census of 2014 reflected. That out of all the people in Uganda, 12.4% were persons with disabilities. That brought to the real figures to mention, that's about 4.5 to 5 million. Friends, we are talking about 2014, and we all see and know how far we have come from 2014. So if there are any other surveys that you benefit from as you do research, or some other literature that you come across, you may even find that this figure has now skyrocketed. I don't know whether it has increased or reduced, but the assumption is that it must have increased given the long list of causes of impairments. That said, communication is a barrier as long as it is ineffective. So effective communication is the best way we want to go if we are to see inclusion. If I stated here that Vicky will see me when I meet her, and then Sharon, who is going to take back the message without being sent, says, Eric says the moment he meets you, you will see his wrath. So Vicky moves prepared to see the wrath, and she doesn't wait to see. The moment we meet, she starts. Yeah? So that is communication. Even ordinarily in our usual way of life, our daily works. So I want to take us briefly through why should we include the persons with disabilities in music. We will not go into the definitions of music and what have you, but let's just run to the slide of benefits. Ordinarily, we know that music makes us to think of how to work as a team. So bringing persons with disabilities will make them appreciated and accepted. So they will understand that the society in which we live accepts and takes us the way we are. Also, it will build their levels of confidence. It will also enhance organizational skills in them. One of the things that I know we don't just land onto is music. That's why producers will ask you, Naegwe, did you really practice? Because you are meandering. They are giving you the beat and you're running at 90% speed. The beat is at 50. So organizing. Persons with disabilities also learn this organizational skills through music. You can best understand persons with disabilities once you work with them. But for you to make something that suits their needs, always consult from them. It is at very high levels that you consult from us or their caregivers, especially depending on the severity of impairment levels. Someone does not speak completely, has psychosocial disability or mental health conditions, and now they have gone into a crisis, you can't communicate to them, then you communicate to the caregiver. Short of that, talk to us directly. Paul is only aware of what I am when we are coming for a function of this kind. He's coming in as a personal assistant. So if you find your time to ask him, nayo mwami oyo, aina kubana, wama chitufa aimba, he will tell you he doesn't know. So you ask me directly. If you want to speak to Hawa, don't begin with Barry or Olivia. Draw Hawa's attention by tapping her shoulder gently. She will look at you and draw the attention of the interpreter. That said, inclusion is a task and role for all of us. It's not a burden, it's a chance, and it is a right that persons with disabilities are included.
I think back then we had a few more people in the industry than we do now, as far as people with disabilities. There were actually quite a few artists and comedians and actors back then, more than prevalent now. They were kind of household names, and people would know them for one reason or another. Just generally about them, I think when God takes one area that you rely on, it kind of amplifies your other skills. So I was always of the belief that, taking from my own personal experience, when I injured my knee in basketball, I became a better shooter. when I injured my arm, I became a faster runner. You kind of depend on other things. So I think in the same way, people with disabilities are able to open are able to use that to their advantage and really open their minds, and speak about issues, speak about things from a perspective that you don't hear every day, because they're not living, they're living these extraordinary lives, and they're able to tap into something that's a lot deeper than most people. So generally, I find with a lot of my boys who are in music who have disabilities, their perspective is amazing. I think that's something you always have to capitalize on. But yeah, so yeah, there are a lot of acts with disabilities, and I feel like one of the things about back in those days is they added the comedic element, to a lot of the acts. So I always feel like that was a bit of a weakness, because it's a trend where a lot of acts and a lot of people who are in the who are disabled in the industry started going down a comedic route, where some of them just had skills just as far as MCs and orators and stuff like that. So I think that was a trend that happened, which is actually okay. It's fine. But I didn't see as many people in other fields back in those days. Yeah, I think someone's talent should always be at the forefront. The arts has a place in Uganda. Creatives have a place in Uganda, and creative Ugandans have a place continentally. Our perspective always has to be about finding talent and nurturing the talent within ourselves, and expanding that outside. You have a culture, you have a people, you have something that grounds you to Uganda. And now, how do you take that talent, build it in Uganda, and then also think further afield? Like I said, it's about building community, with your branding and your online and your presence. It's about building communities. And so if you feel like there's not a big enough community here to understand what you're doing, why not partner with Kenya, partner with people in Tanzania, partner with people in Rwanda, grow your networks. Don't think that you need just Kampala to survive, branch out, push your music out further, even though there's, a million things that will get in the way. The fact that you are here trying to be a creative on this platform means that you're already going the right way. My name is Navio, and welcome to Sauti Canvas.